What's up, guys? Eli here. Today I'm going to be starting my end of year list or album ranking video, I guess you could call it. I'm going to do it in three parts. And I'm going to do it the same way that I did last year, where I'm going to rank every 2021 release that I acquired. I think for me, it's better that way. It's kind of more fun than doing a top 10 or even a top 20. And also, I get to play the card where I can say, these aren't the albums that I think were the best in general. These are just the ones that I ended up with, and this is how I like them, from least to worst. I'm probably going to do it this way every year because it is kind of fun, and like I said, it takes some pressure off me. I don't think I'll get the comments where people are going to argue with what's better and what's not, which is stupid anyways. But anyways, so we're going to get started. We're going to do, I bought a total of 33 albums in 2021 releases from this year, I should say. So I'm going to break it into 11 albums per video. And since this is going to be the first video, I'm just going to throw these in here at the beginning. We're going to start off with my favorite compilation, I was going to say re-release. Let's just say favorite compilation release this year. Just because I wanted to shine some more light on this album, because it really did make a big impact on me. It got me into this band that I had kind of forgotten about, I guess you could say. So we're talking about Catatonia. I don't know how to pronounce that. Nemosinian, whatever. This was released on Peaceville with a cool digibook. I've showed it before already. It's a two-disc compilation, and what's cool about this is it has most of their tracks from like their EPs. This doesn't go into like the very early days. This is like, I don't know exactly when you would say. This is probably like after they've been a band for 5 to 8 years. They're up until now. So, they released a lot of EPs in that time, with all of them which are out of press and really hard to find, actually. I've been trying to get them on Discogs. I have one of them. The other ones are just kind of eluding me so far. So this was a big deal for me. Not only did it give me the tracks that are on those EPs, but it really rekindled my interest in this band, like in a big way. So that needs to be said. Favorite movie this year. I don't always do this. I think I did this in 2018 or 2019 or something. I did do it last year. And I will admit, I did not watch a lot of 2021 movies, but I'm comfortable with saying, even if I had, I think this would still be my number one. So we're just going to say this is my number one movie this year, kind of by a landslide, although I enjoyed a few. We're talking about Pig. I know you're probably thinking, dude, you only have had that movie for a couple months, and you'd be right. And I only watched it once, but it's kind of one of those movies where I'm not saying you're not going to want to rewatch it, but it's not a movie that you're going to rewatch very often. It's not like, it's not like a slasher movie where you can just put it on at any time and just have a blast. And I know not everyone's a fan of Nicolas Cage, but his performance here is stellar, one of the best of his career, and there's no arguments against that, I don't think. So, anyways, we'll get on with the music now, with the actual 2021 releases. And also, I've done this in the past too, and I'm going to probably do this, every year. Just to make it interesting and fun. I'm not making a full-length only rule. I get that that's a thing, and I get that that's important for some people. But for me, I include demos and EPs. The only thing I don't include is compilations. I will just say compilations and live albums. I don't include those, but demos and EPs are totally fine on my list. So I think some bands might have only released a demo or an EP this year. Why should they not be included? Not fucking Rolling Stone or anything like that. So I can change things a little bit. And like I said, I think it's fun. All right, let's start. Album number 33. This is a band from Italy, a pretty long-standing band at this point. They actually started out as a black metal band. I have not actually heard their black metal stuff. I remember seeing the name around. So anyways, they were a black metal band for a while. I think at least half their career. I don't remember when they started, but it's been at least 10 or 15 years, I think. So anyways, what they're doing now is more of a traditional heavy metal. And we are talking about Malamorte. Like I said, out of Italy, album called God Needs Evil. I bought this blindly, released on Moribund Records, by the way. Bought it blindly, and I did not, it's not bad. There's nothing offensive on here. There's nothing that they failed at. I just don't think it's a very good heavy metal album. I would still probably pay attention to this band in the future. I'll probably still check out their shit, but this is just, for me, a run-of-the-mill heavy metal album, like a 80s style heavy metal, which is something that I love, but I feel like modern bands usually don't pull it off. So, Malamorte, God Needs Evil at number 33. Number 32. This was a promo I received this year, and it's definitely not a bad album. We're talking about Pterodome. Album's called Straight Out of Smogtown. Now, Pterodome are a thrash metal band out of Poland. I think they label themselves as like a crossover thrash band, which is fair. I would agree with that. It's not super punky. It's not like to me. It doesn't sound that much like DRI or the early crossover stuff. But I'd still definitely hear some crossover elements, leaning more to the thrash metal side. So yeah, Pterodome, Straight Out of Smogtown. It's a good album. It's just not, and I listened to it a few times. It's just not something I'm personally going to revisit very often. Really cool vocals, like manic, scattering vocals, whatever that means. Really good musicianship, good riffs and solos, good drumming. And they've been around for a while. I think they've been around 10, 15 years at this point. So they know what they're doing. It's just, I'm not too big on modern thrash metal either. So, and I hate it because I love 80s thrash. Album number 31. This is probably, this might be my biggest letdown of the year because I'm a big fan of this guy. We're talking about Jerry Cantrell with the album Brighton. Obviously, Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains. He was a primary songwriter, guitarist. He contributed probably 25-30% of the vocals in the early Alice in Chains. He does a little bit more now. He kind of took the reins a little bit more, but he's basically always been the irreplaceable guy in Alice in Chains. I know Lane Staley losing him was a big deal, but losing Jerry would have completely ended the band. So, we didn't lose Jerry. He did, not for a lot of years after Lane died, but he would reunite Alice in Chains. Anyway, we're not talking about Alice in Chains. We're talking about his solo career. This album, Brighton, it's his third full length. I'll show it now. It had been a while. I think it had been 15 years, maybe more, since his last solo album, which I thought was really good, to be honest. This album, however, just left a lot to be desired. It's the thing that I hate the most about it, and that I find the most unlistenable, is it's probably 85% a cheery, happy sounding album, which is just not what I want from Jerry Cantrell. I mean, I'm sure he would be disappointed to hear me say this. I'm sure he doesn't want to do the same thing or, make the same gloomy, depressing music for his whole career, but I feel like that's just what he does best. A lot of these songs here are, he's a big country music fan, so there's a lot of country-ish sounding, it's not a country album, it's kind of a country-ish rock album. And it's not prevalent on every song. There are a few good, dreary songs, but they're so few and far between. It's just, I can't say it's a bad album, but it's absolutely not what I want to hear from Jerry Cantrell. And it's him playing that kind of music, it's just not my cup of tea. So unfortunately, I had to rank it really low. Album number 30, we're going to be talking about. This is another, I'm not going to say I'm disappointed with this one because I didn't really have much for expectations to begin with. I think everyone expected this to kind of be a snooze fest. And I wouldn't say that it's that. I do enjoy it, but it's not going to get a lot of replay value out of me. So we're talking about KK's Priest with Sermons of the Sinner. Debut album from this band. KK Downing from Judas Priest. You got Tim Ripper Owens on vocals, formerly of Judas Priest as well. And then some other guys that they cobbled together. It's I should like it a lot more than I do. It's definitely a continuation in that Painkiller, Jugulator style, which I love. Those are two of my favorite Judas Priest albums. So it is in the vein of that, but it just doesn't have the magic found in those albums. Yes, I do consider Jugulator magical. Sorry, but you don't have to agree with that. But yeah, it's just not an album that's going to get a lot of replay from me, unfortunately. So, number 30, KK's Priest, Sermons of the Sinner. Going to number 29. I hope I keep this in order with the numbers and shit. This should probably have ranked higher. I like this quite a bit. Both of these bands are good. It's a split, by the way, so we're talking about a split between Fumes and Thorn. Both, I was going to say both American death metal bands. I think one of them might be from Canada. But anyways, Fumes, Thorn, split, released on Life After Death. This was sent to me by Brian Arkham, which I much appreciated. So I already covered this. I actually reviewed this, but I really wanted this to be higher, but I like it, but I didn't love it. What can I say? There's so many death metal bands out there now that for me, it's starting to get to a thing, a similar thing that happened in like the mid '90s, where people were just getting kind of overwhelmed with death metal and starting to lose interest in newer bands. That said, I am going to try. I'm going to try a little harder next year to keep up on the newer bands and newer releases, but I didn't do very well this year. I'll just throw that out there. But these are both good death metal bands. They just didn't put anything on here that is going to bring me back real often. Let's see. 27? I think we're on 27 now. We'll go with 27. This is the second full-length album from this one-man U.S. black metal? I guess you could call it black metal. We're going to talk about Untamed Land with their album Like Creatures Seeking Their Own Forms. I wanted to like this a lot more. It's kind of like, if you like Agalok, if you like Panopticon, and especially Summoning, you should be able to get into this band. However, I kind of couldn't. It's got moments that are really cool. It's basically, I've talked about it before. It's basically kind of a Summoning-esque band. Take Summoning, but trade out the medieval dungeon synthy parts with like spaghetti western soundtracks, like Sergio Leone and stuff like that. Which, I like some spaghetti western movies, but that kind of music isn't really my thing. So I'm not going to say that it didn't work, because I think it did work. It's just not anything. I mean, I listened to it 3 or 4 times, but it's not anything I'm going to be able to really get into, and I tried. So yeah, album 27, Untamed Land. Album number 26, we have this band's been around a good couple of years now. They're out of, I think, Baltimore, Maryland. We're talking about Torvus with their album The Innate Disease. These guys play like a doom death metal. They're very good at it. It's not... What I kind of did like about this is it wasn't one of those doom death albums where it's just kind of the same tempo throughout the whole thing. I mean, there's faster parts, there's slower parts. They definitely like to break up the monotony. There's really not a lot of monotony to be found on here. And I do like a lot of doom death. Some of the vocals at times kind of reminded me of the first Catatonia album. Some of the riffs reminded me of like Paradise Lost Gothic. But after a few listens, it just wasn't anything that I was really going to want to revisit a lot. However, I still will. I'll revisit it in the future again, I'm sure. But for now, I'm going to put it away, and I probably won't listen to it for a good while. So, sorry. I think we're on 24. I knew this was going to be a struggle. We're on number 24. We're going to be talking about this younger, or I should say newer, Polish band called Insertus. Album titled Predestination to Damnation. So, this is an EP, I think. This was kind of a weird one. This one kind of came out of left field, and I enjoyed it actually a lot more than I thought I would, especially after the first listen. This is more of like a very off-kilter Black Death album. The only band I can really compare it to is like maybe In Thy Dream, or not In Thy, Pandemonium. I kind of reminded me of Pandemonium. It's definite Black Death metal, super low guttural vocals, weird musicianship. like weird bass playing and kind of simplistic drums and kind of off-kilter riffs. And I don't know. If you like Pandemonium, I think you could probably get into this. And I did like it quite a bit, actually. It's just such a weird listen. It's kind of demands your attention. And I really do look forward to what these guys do in the future. So I don't have a jewel case for it yet. I'll just show you what I have. This was sent to me by the label, by the way, and it's pretty cool. I do definitely recommend you guys checking it out if you like kind of avant-garde black metal and stuff like that. So, album 24. I know I'm going to fuck this up. So this one I don't have to show. I do have it. I just couldn't find it. But we're going to be talking about Ireful. I had to think about it. Ireful out of Italy. Younger, thrash metal band playing some really cool kind of 80s Bay Area influenced thrash. Really impressive debut. I think these guys definitely have a solid future if they keep, if they hone their song writing and their musicianship, which they're already excelling at. I think they could give us a really, really cool full-length album. So, I have the CD version. Life After Death put up, Life After Death put out the tape. I have the CD version, and all you old school thrash fans, I think you should check out Ireful. I think they are one of the better thrash bands I've heard in a while. So, album, let's just say 23. I think we're at 23. This, I feel like I'm not doing justice. I feel like this album, I should rank higher, but I struggle to get into this, and I hate to say it because I think they're a really cool band. We're talking about the U.S.'s Suffering Hour with the Cyclic Reckoning. And this is like their third full length, something like that, don't quote me. They play like a black death metal, really low, kind of disgusting sounding vocals, and a very unique guitar tone and playing style. It almost kind of reminded me, it's kind of like jangly sounding, almost reminding me of like 80s goth rock and post-punk and stuff like that, but like kind of that style of guitar playing, but made to fit death metal a little bit better. Unique sounding band and unique sounding album, but I just couldn't get into it as much as I wanted to. Album 22. We're going to be talking about Grand Invocation. This is their debut. I can't remember if it's an EP or a demo, but it's their debut recording for sure. These guys are a black metal band out of the U.S., actually not far from where I live, and I actually know one of the dudes in the band, which I usually try not to rate or review, bands that I am friends with. I usually try not to do that, but this one I think I only know one of the guys. I don't know the whole band like I do with some others, and I really do believe in this. I think it's really, really good, and that's why it's here. That's why I made an exception to show this, kind of breaking my own rule that I've had in the past. But yeah, Grand Invocation with their like I said, it's EP or a demo, I can't remember, titled Ogra. This is really good, kind of Finnish black metal worship, like early Behexen and Sargeist and stuff like that, which I know a lot of you do. This came out on Expansion Abyss. Cool, younger-ish label out of the U.S. Go give this a listen. You can listen to the whole thing on their Bandcamp, I believe. It's just really good vocals, really good riffs. The riffs all over this thing. So yeah. If you like that early 2000s, late 90s Finnish black metal, you could do a lot worse than listen to Grand Invocation. So anyways, that's all I got for now. Hopefully I did the numbering correctly, but it doesn't really matter. I showed them in the right order. That's what counts. I will be back in a day or two to I might do these all I might just release one every day. We'll see. I haven't really decided yet, but thanks for watching part 3 of my end of year list, or whatever we want to call it. But yeah, we'll see you soon with the other albums. Thanks for stopping by. Louis says hello. He's over there. Cheers, guys.